Well, thank you all for coming. And this is going to be a couple of firsts for me. Got a special announcement as we go through for something that's really exciting happening in my life. But equally, it's the first time that I am delivering a webinar. It's the first time I've produced a webinar and delivered one in record time as well. So a number of firsts tonight. So thank you everyone for making the effort to come. And yeah, I'm really excited to try this out, see what works, see what doesn't work, get any feedback as well. And the topic is authenticity, because that's a subject close to my heart. And it's also one of the reasons why I signed up for what I'm going to talk about in the first place. And it's been a constant companion on my journey throughout. And I've titled it, How to Live Authentically 24/7. Is that even possible? Because I think if I look back at myself a couple of years ago, I'm thinking, okay, am I even showing up authentically at all? And if I am, how often am I doing it? And how do I feel inside? And now I'm looking at it thinking, right, okay, I'm now in a position where I'm living a life where authenticity 24/7 is something that I'm able to do. Doesn't mean it's always easy, but it's something that brings great growth and challenges along the way. And that's all part of the journey. And yeah, so we're going to touch on the theme of authenticity 24/7. So it's going to be focused around that theme, not necessarily authenticity itself, but around how to be authentic 24/7. And is it even possible? And I'll give a small hint now. It is. It definitely is. Yes. Real is rare, but it doesn't have to be. I'm just going to admit Rhodes, who's in the waiting room. And then we will get going. So I'm going to share my screen, and I've got a PowerPoint that we will go through. So just going to do that now. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see the screen? Fantastic. Okay, so how to live authentically 24/7. Is that even possible? So this is for people who want to discover how to live authentically 24/7, want to understand the power of personal transformation, and also want to understand the power of a peer group. And a peer group is essentially, it's the equivalent, I'm just going to admit, Chris, it's the equivalent of a network. It's a community of people that you are a part of that has an impact on your life. So we're going to cover why around authentically 24/7, but also why around some of the things that we're touching upon as we go. So we're going to cover why authenticity, what happens if you're not showing up authentically, and what is the difference if you do start to show up authentically, and what does that look like when you do, and what was the thing that I did in my life that you'll learn as we go through that took me from a life of challenge and struggle in a negative way to a life of growth and contribution in a positive way, but also an authentic way. And then after we've gone through that, there will be an invitation from me to all of you. So we're going to start by looking at the why, and we're going to cover how not to live authentically. We're going to start with my story, which how not to live authentically and how to overcome that. So this was me. I mean, to be completely honest, I took that photo today, but it's a visual representation of how I felt and how I was showing up back in the start of January this year. And I've grabbed my head for a very particular reason, to share my story. In the start of January, I just gone back to work after a month on the sick, and a month on the sick was something I'd never experienced before, and I hope I never experience again. And what basically happened is I had an emotional breakdown at work, and I also had this sensation of a pop go in my head, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was like a pounding headache, and it would not go away. And I thought the only time I get dehydrated, the only time I get headaches in the past is through dehydration. So I thought, right, okay, I'm clearly overstressed here. It's been a tough day. I'm going to keep drinking water. I'll wake up tomorrow and the headache will have gone. But I woke up the next day and the headache was just as the same as it was before. And at this point, I'm starting to get confused because I'm also disorientated, and I had trouble even putting my speech together in a meaningful way. So at this point, I was, upset is the way to describe it, I suppose. So I had a call with my dad, and he could tell that something wasn't right with me. So he guided me to essentially go to A&E. So I went to A&E, and they ended up doing a full stroke check with me. And that was, again, the next level of kind of upset and discomfort, because it's the first time I've had to go there at my age. And it kind of all hit home to me that, right, okay, this is pretty scary, to be honest, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. And the pain won't go away, and the discomfort, I'm just going to admit truly. And they couldn't tell me what was wrong. The only thing they could tell me was that they didn't think I'd had a stroke, but I had to keep an eye on it. And that really impacted me. My mental health declined and declined throughout December. And I took some steps to try and really reintegrate myself and get myself back on track, but nothing was working for me. So I end up going through Christmas, and after a couple of weeks, the headache starts to go away. And I think, right, okay, fantastic. At least it's going away. I don't know what it is at this point, and I'm having conversations with doctors who don't know either, but at least I'm thinking, okay, at least it's going away. It may not be permanent. And these types of thoughts are going in my head. And that continues like that until the end of December, start of January. And I think, right, at this point, I've had a month off sick. I spent most of my time indoors, and all of the kind of isolation that comes with that. So my head mentally wasn't in a great place. So I picked myself back up. I tried to go back to work. 2 days back to work, I'm on a client call. That's quite a challenging client call. And by this point, my head was clear. I didn't have any pain or any discomfort anymore. So I thought, right, okay, I'll put that behind me, and I will continue on. Came off that client call, and the headache was back. And I was thinking to myself, this is the same discomfort that I had before, and I don't know why it's coming, but I'm going to have to go back on the sick again. And that for me is like another, just when I got myself back, it was like a hammer blow, essentially, because I'm thinking, I've got to go through all this again, and it really wasn't pleasant to go through in December. So I thought, I have to do something different here, because it's just not working. The advice I'm getting, the guidance from doctors, is just not working. So this is when I reached out to my peer group, the people in my life who I'm close to. I used the tools that I had available to me as a result of going through a course that we're going to talk about. And I had to really delve deep, and I went through a process of understanding myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. I had to do a full deep dive. I had to set myself up with a new routine of consistency. I had to think about how am I mentally showing up, and what can I do to build resilience when I'm at a really low point. And I also took the opportunity to look at myself emotionally and spiritually, because on reflection, I had to take responsibility for the fact that I'd ended up where I was. And I was fortunate because I had the tools. I already understood some steps that I could take to help me. And I also had the peer group around me to support me. And there were a number of people who supported me through that time in January to help me do the deep work that I needed to do. Some of it was things like shadow work, values work, again, looking at authenticity, a combination of different things, along with physical exercise, maintaining a routine. And I was dedicated with that. And by the end of January, I was back to health. The pain in my head had gone, and by that point, I knew that there were stress headaches, which gave me some certainty, which helped. I later found out that stress headaches are quite common around corporate executives and high achievers, which was another thing I learned and helped me on my trajectory to what I'm doing now. But I had to really dig deep and do the work, and I had the support and the tools to help me do that. And I went back to work, and I knew everything was okay because I got signed off with occupational health, saying that the recovery that I'd made was essentially seamless from where I'd come from in January. There are a number of things I haven't covered, but to make it brief, or as brief as I can, but to give you the full picture, there were a whole number of things that I recovered from and put behind me. And that was as a result of me using the tools and having the peer group at my disposal. And that really shifted a lot of things for me. It made me look at my life as a clear mirror, looking at everything, things that are working, things that aren't working, and really assess what's not working. And right, okay, is this something that I want to continue to do? No. Okay, then it's time to start being honest with yourself. Have you done the work in these areas? No, I haven't. Well, then you have to take responsibility for that. And it was a really challenging period for me, but now looking back at it now, it's actually, I'm able to look at it with hindsight thinking it's the best period of my life, because the challenge that I had to grow through has defined me and given me character as a person, as a man, and as someone who is really looking to grow and contribute in life. So that's the kind of negative aspect. But if I look at myself now, this is how I am, and this is how I'm showing up, regardless of the challenges. I'm showing up in a completely different way, a more authentic way. And since that time, I've made a number of decisions that have changed my life. I made the decision to hand in my notice at my job. Didn't have any kind of fallback, but I knew that there would be something that would present itself. And everything really started to change from that point, from me making a firm decision, right? Am I loving myself? Am I being authentic to myself if I keep doing what I'm doing, if I keep working where I'm working, if I keep showing up the way I'm showing up and not doing the work? And I just had to be completely truthful with myself and say, no, I need to do something different. And I need to do something different now. And I handed in my notice on the first day of March, and by the end of March, I'd left that job and I'd found something else, and everything had shifted for me in that month because I was living authentically and things really started to show up for me. And now I'm living a much more authentic life. I'm doing a job that I love. I'm setting up a business as well. And just everything is flowing much more than it was in the past. So that's my story, and the reason why I'm sharing that is because now we know what not living a life of authenticity can look like, and the challenges that come with that. And we also know how quickly that can change if the right elements are in play. So for instance, I mentioned the peer group and the tools. So next, we're going to look at why do so many people live inauthentically? Well, they're not set up to win fundamentally. And there are people that you know who do live authentic lives, but can you truly say that they are achieving what they want and they are doing everything that they want with their lives? And this particular webinar is about authenticity 24/7, not authenticity in those moments where you show up. It's how do you do it all the time? And from my perspective, they're not set up to win. They don't have clarity. And clarity of purpose, clarity of direction. They don't have the tools. Different exercises, reframes, ways of looking at the world, other aspects like that. And they don't have the support. And if they do have the support, is the support positive or negative? Because if it's negative, I'm just admitting Mogans. If it's negative, it's going to be detracting from where they want to go fundamentally. And if it's positive, it's going to make a huge difference. So we've looked at the kind of the why. Let's move into the what. What can solve this problem of authenticity 24/7? Well, we've covered clarity being a particular pain or problem. Well, if we gain clarity, then that's going to help us to show up authentically. If we get the tools, then if we do face challenges, then we are going to be able to have the tools to help us overcome the challenges that we're facing. Find like-minded people, because it's all great having the tools and having that clarity, but when it really gets tough, like I've experienced myself, having the like-minded people around us is really going to make the difference. We're going to be held accountable, but we're also going to know that that other person is there for us in a positive way. So if we stumble, it's okay. We've got those other people having our back. But the challenge with this is it's difficult and time consuming at the very least. I could probably list more reasons, but to create your own positive peer group from scratch, it's a very time consuming thing because you have to go to the right places. Where do you even start with that? Do you do it on a social thing? Do you do it on hobbies? What do you have in common? All kinds of stuff like that. And then the tools, if you want to find the tools are out there, but then it's finding the right tools and then finding the right combination for those tools. So again, that's difficult. And then the clarity can come as part of a journey, but again, difficult. And to do all three, an extra layer of difficulty, I would suggest. So the question is, what if there was another way? And I think you all know that there is another way. So there is. No surprises there. So it's the Elite Mentorship Forum. So I'm going to cover what is the Elite Mentorship Forum. I'm fairly certain most of you will know this. I'm just having a look to see if anyone else has joined. Yeah, the Elite Mentorship Forum, it is the perfect culmination of what I have described. You go through a period of personal transformation where you have the opportunity to have the clarity or to start on the journey to clarity. You are provided with tools in the right context and at the right time that you can use, and then you have them for the rest of your life, which is tremendously powerful and liberating at the same time. And that liberation we can then use to power through to our journey to authenticity. And the peer group as well. It's an integral part to the Elite Mentorship Forum. And the way I've put it here, EMF gives clarity through personal transformation. EMF gives you the tools so you can keep transforming yourself consistently. And this is where the 24/7 aspect comes in. EMF places you among a positive peer group who you bond with. And it means for those times that we are facing those challenges, we've got someone who is going to be there for us. Got someone who is going to hold us accountable, but is also going to hold the space for us. You are set up to win, essentially. Fantastic. So I just wanted to reflect back on my story, because I spent a lot of time in the challenge, because I think that was important to talk around the authenticity aspect. But my story finishes here along the lines of, I went through EMF for the first time in January 2021. So it's been a year and 3 months. And I could share more stories like the story that I shared at the beginning. I picked that one because I think it's the most profound that's affected me in my life to this point. But there are others that are of close, if not equal impact on my life. And I was able to, since I've joined the EMF, to consistently rely on my peer group and the tools that I have as a result of going through the program. And also the clarity, the constant clarity that I'm getting from personally transforming myself to overcome my challenges and to really grow and develop as a person. And I made the decision that I wanted to teach this material because I'm really passionate about it. I think it's a tremendous program that can really make an incredible difference with people's lives. Not just authenticity, that's what I focused on for me because it's been my personal journey. I think there's so many aspects of EMF that will make a positive difference. So I decided to become an elite mentorship trainer, and I became certified after probably a year's work, I would say. So it took me longer because of many challenges, as you can imagine. But I am certified. And special announcement time. Hope you like the fireworks. I thought it worked nicely. My first EMF starts on Sunday, the 3rd of July. So it's a really big milestone moment for me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you. And so I have some offers in place. My standard price for EMF is $4,997. But to celebrate my first ever EMF, I'm offering 50% off. So what that means is it's no longer $497, it's down to just $2,997. And I'm offering this for the first 10 people who sign up for my EMF. Because I'm incredibly passionate about this, I want to give people the opportunity to experience the EMF for themselves. And if your journey resonates with my story in any way, then I'd be absolutely delighted to have a conversation with you and to see if EMF would be a good fit for you. So let's move into, we've covered the offer. What if you do? Well, I'm going to be brief here, but this is an example of half the modules that are covered in the EMF. We have Real Reality, Learning Genius, Wealth and Abundance, Mastering Emotions, Mastering Relationships, Powerful Concentration, and Authenticity. And although authenticity, it instantly comes out to me based on my journey, but I'm sure there's other things there. I mean, Mastering Emotions. be absolutely incredible to get to a position where you can master your emotions. Imagine the difference that that will make in your day-to-day life. Mastering relationships. Wow. Same thing. Wealth and abundance. We all have dreams, desires, and to be able to have this wealth and abundance mindset, what a difference that could make in our lives. But there's more. There's goals reinvented, becoming majestic, mirror, mirror, new you, and creating a legacy. And the program is really built as a strong pyramid. You build the layers, you do the work, week in, week out. And by the end, you end up with this capstone of creating a legacy, something that you can look back on and be proud of. What if you do? You get clarity, you get tools, and you get the peer group. So not only do you get the modules there, but you get the clarity of the personal transformation by going through the journey of EMF. You get the tools mentioned in those modules, but each module has at least a couple of tools, if not 3 or 4 tools per module. And these tools you have in your back pocket for the rest of your life. And that makes an incredible difference. There isn't a day that goes by where I don't use at least one of the tools. In fact, I would say probably daily at this point, I use at least 5 to 10 of them. And some of them I don't use quite as often, but I know that if I have a situation, I've got the tool. And the more I practice with that tool, the better I become with it. And I've got that for life as a result of going through this program. And then the other thing is the peer group of fantastic, high consciousness, positive people who are there to support, encourage, but they're also there when it gets challenging. They're there when it really gets tough, and they will, in the same breath, hold the space and hold you accountable. And that makes a tremendous difference. It really does. And by doing that, you get to live an authentic life 24/7. And that's why I entitled it 24/7. That's why I'm not talking around authenticity itself, but authentic life 24/7. Because with those aspects all combined together, you will always be living an authentic life, regardless of the challenges, because you will have the confidence of the tools, you'll have the clarity of the transformation, and you will have the support from the peer group. So we're going to wrap up here. Thank you for staying on and listening to me. I hope you've enjoyed it. My website is empoweryourselffully.com/EMF for this particular program. My full website is empoweryourselffully.com. We'll have some more products coming out later this year. However, my focus at the moment is on EMF. So if you go there, you can find out more about the Elite Mentorship Forum, some of the modules in more detail, but also there are some testimonials along with personal testimonials from when I have been involved with other EMFs. And also you get to find out a bit more about me as a trainer as well. So if you'd like to go there, I will also put it in the chat when I've stopped sharing. In fact, let me see if I can do it now. I would do it now. So you've got it there to check it out. And my email is letsconnect@empoweryourselffully.com. And just a brief aside, it's not part of the presentation, but I've picked the name Empower Yourself Fully because it sums up what I want to do, what I want to achieve, and what I want my business to be about. I want people to be able to empower themselves fully. And the EMF is a fantastic way to be able to do that, but also knowing that they have the peer group around them for the challenges, but also for the growth and the celebrations that come as well. So I only have one question. Are you in? So I'm going to stop sharing and stop